Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. This is a little breaking news. I told you today would be breaking news day. Wasn't sure if there would be a ton of breaking news. It's already begun before the actual free agency has even begun. So, Rashan Gary did get traded. I can't believe it. It's crazy. We got very lucky that an extremely desperate Dallas Cowboys team, and again, everybody's overpaying, which is where I get excited about, if there's a chance, and good on Gutekunst for not giving up, because my whole mentality was like, I get it, go till the freaking bell, but you ain't getting anything. We'll see what happens with, I guess, anybody else here down the stretch, but I had no expectation of him being traded. His play has been reduced. The injury seems to be affecting him. He is starting to get up in age. And the contract is the biggest thing. That contract is just unruly. But the Green Bay Packers are trading defensive end Rashan Gary to the Dallas Cowboys in exchange for a 2027 fourth-round pick. By the way, I don't know why. First of all, Adam Schefter, I don't know what he's doing. I have a feeling, outside of just incompetence, he's running cover for Dallas. These guys always, they get their information from somewhere, and I'm sure the person who tells them wants it phrased a certain way. Let me ask you if this phrasing sounds accurate or inaccurate. The Dallas Cowboys sent a late 2027 pick for a defensive tackle in Rashan Gary. That would be incorrect. Second time, by the way, Schefter has done that. When we gave an extension or a contract to Sean Ryan, he called him a tackle. So Sean Ryan's a tackle, Rashan Gary's a defensive tackle. But beyond that level of incompetence, the fact that it only said a 2027 late round pick, bro, it's a fourth round pick. First of all, I don't care. And I basically put it out there as bait on social media when I said we got a fourth round pick for him, because I'm waiting for some idiot to tell me that it's 2027, actually, 2027. So that I can absolutely lose my freaking mind. Nobody's done it. So we're making progress in the world of educating people on the fact that doesn't matter. But the fact that it was phrased as a next year's late round pick, I can't help but assume that came straight from Dallas. This is, by the way, Dallas, who has been pushing real hard for Max Crosby. They're in the same boat as Chicago, by the way, which is a rant I absolutely cannot wait to go on. How Chicago is just getting absolutely brutalized this offseason. Oh, it's kind of beautiful. But they have these high aspirations. They're not hiding the fact that they're desperate. They're not smart enough to think about that. They're overtly desperate for all these things, and they're just not getting anything they want. And so that is what creates a great market to trade somebody. You find an extremely desperate Dallas Cowboys team that has to make some kind of a move here, and they take Rashan Gary's contract and give us a fourth, and then tell Schefter, hey, go tell people it was a 2027 late round pick, so that everybody, it was in the article. I was on the phone, and I'm like, oh man, this happened. Let's take a look at what happened. And so I click on the article and I read it, and it says it was a 2027 late round pick. I'm like, oh, okay, so it was probably a seventh round. And then the very next sentence says it was a fourth round pick. I'm like, wait a minute, that's a really good pick. First of all, I don't think fourth should be characterized as a late round pick. Sixth and seventh round certainly are late round picks. Fifth, arguable. Fourth, no chance, especially to Packer fans. You try to convince any Packer fan that a fourth round pick is a late round pick, bro. I don't know if you know this. I'm sure Schefter doesn't. Among Packer fans, there is almost nothing you could give us better. I think a second round pick is the only pick you could give us that we'd be more. Well, a first round pick, we'd obviously be excited for the accolades of it. Let me put it very succinctly: a fourth round pick would get us more excited than a third round pick. Fourth round pick is legit ammunition in 2025. Not to mention, we're talking about having potentially a buttload of compensatory picks. So we might be missing a first round pick, but have a second, a pile of thirds and fourths, and then, usually we have like 3 sevenths. I mean, this might be a big old pile of picks for the Packers in 2027. Can I also say, and I do want to get into the details of this, and I know this isn't meant to be a full podcast, it's supposed to be short, but I can't help it. I'm a little bit of a ranty individual. This really does speak to, I don't want to say that Gutekunst is confident because he's not an idiot. He knows very well that if everything goes poorly, he could get fired. Do you know what most people do in that situation? They focus on today at the detriment of the future. And I know a lot of fans want that. You shouldn't want that. Brian Gutekunst is loading up for a draft class that he might not even be the GM of. Now, that's not super likely. But again, the easier thing to do here is to make sure that we have compensation that he can use to help him secure his job. Everything he's doing is loading up for 2027, which is great for the Packers. It's not necessarily great for him if this draft class and this free agent class doesn't go super well, and now we've got another year of what the heck. It's not impossible he's out the door and he just loaded up for somebody else. So, big ol' hat tip for just getting the best deal and not being focused on how can I best serve myself in this role. Which, by the way, is the only reason that those late round picks have lesser value, because people are afraid that they might not even be the GM. It has less value to them, to that GM, but to a franchise that is eternal, it has no difference whatsoever in value. So it is a 4th round pick for Rashan Gary. That is awesome. Gary, who is 28 years old, was due a big $19.5 million base salary in 2026. Via Ken Ingalls, the Packers eat $17 million of dead cap, which is already paid but now needs to be accounted for this year by trading Rashan Gary to the Cowboys. But the Packers remove his remaining $28 million this year and $31 million next year. So that's $11 million in savings this year, $31 million in savings next year, plus a 4th round pick to boot. And the fact of the matter is that there is no way to spin this negatively because the internet is forever. If Gutekunst didn't do a good job, if you want to pretend that this isn't a good deal, find anybody, anywhere, that said that a 4th round pick is the value, or a 3rd, or a 2nd, or a 1st. Find me one. Ike Packers put up a question. What is he worth? A bag of baseballs, nothing. Quart of maple syrup, a 6th. A bag of chips, 0, 0. 5th at best. Although someone willing to let go of a 4th would be an absolute steal. I mean, good on him for even making it a possibility. But even then, he says it's an absolute steal. A piece of poo. A 5th and 7th. Strangely, that's pretty close. 0. 0. Nothing close to what he's paid. Based on his last 2 seasons, absolutely nothing. No value, not much, nothing. Nobody would take on that contract with his performance. Bag of chips, 0%. Allen says he's worth a 1st round and a 3rd or 4th. All right, well, there's one. One guy that's allowed to say this was a bad deal, I guess. And yeah, a lot of the negativity about a trade, I mean, it was negative to begin with, but once Rashan Gary did what he did, or was hacked, everybody just assumed at that point there's no any chance to trade him now just died. And they still got a 4th back. In fact, I'm struggling to find anybody even estimating it because I don't think anyone expected a trade to happen. So, anywho, Rashan Gary officially out the door. We get the cap savings that we've been anticipating. And in addition, 4th round pick in return. So, anywho, I'm going to get out of here. We got this thing about to kick off pretty quickly here, so I want to get this uploaded and be on our way. I don't know if we're going to do a podcast tomorrow. I might just honestly, depending on how much news there is, I might just start stitching these together and do like a recap podcast. So we'll see how it goes. But y'all have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.